Okay, now on to some mid-cap earnings as well. There are a couple really. Navneet has had a good run while the market has cooled off. That stock is up. Blue Star is not doing too badly, 1%, 1.5%. And while margins could have been slightly better, I think the sales numbers and the PAT numbers haven't been bad for Blue Star. Let's get in Satish Jamdar, MD of Blue Star, for a quick interaction as well. Mr. Jamdar, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. This is Neeraj here. Good morning. I think your investors won't really complain if you guide to a cool off in the air conditioner sales, but still report a 26% growth in PAT.
Yes, good morning, Neeraj. Nice to talk to you again.
Likewise.
Well, it's been a quarter where perhaps we could have done worse. I think we did much better than what the market indications seem to be. The summer has been very erratic this time. Last year, it was extended summer. When summer is strong, the AC sales obviously are at their highest. And summer sales are a major event for most AC companies on the retail side especially. But this time, if you remember, there was an early rain which actually destroyed a lot of crop. That was one of the concerns. There was, of course, concern that rains may not be enough this year, but I think that we can now breathe easy about that. But the summer was erratic, and the market, as far as I can see from market reports, there's a growth of only about 3 to 5%. Expected growth by the market was like last year about 15%. But we have posted, still in spite of that, a good market growth, and especially our room ACs. So I think if I look at all that, the other one, the star performer for us this quarter has been the electronics division, which is the segment 3. We given a note there in our results because if you remember, we moved that part of the business into a 100% subsidiary just beginning of this year, and a bit of it, the remaining part of business which was already booked, was executed through the Blue Star segment. So you can see, you need to give a comparison to. If you look at both of them, there's another 50% increase in the segment result if you combine what happened overall for that business. So by and large, yes, it's been a good quarter. We could have done better as usual, as always we say that. Going forward, we need to look at how things will pan out. That's really the thing we are focusing on right now.
No, but that's the question, Mr. Jamdar. Yes, it could have been better, but you've not done too badly. What about the next 3 quarters? Because I remember reading an article, maybe an interview that you gave to the Economic Times, a newspaper, wherein you mentioned about a 10% drop in 10 to 15% drop in air conditioner sales going ahead. Now, the outlook is probably not the strongest. How would Blue Star do in the remaining 3 quarters then?
For us, Neeraj, there are two parts of our business. One is the consumer facing, which is room ACs, commercial refrigeration, which are both still doing well. There has been a bit of slowdown on what shall I say, the growth prospects even in the rural economy, because I think the rains and generally perhaps economic conditions, the rural economic conditions have been a little less exciting than they were last year. So I know that there have been reduction in, say, for example, markets like farm equipment and stuff like that, which gives indication that maybe things are not as good as they were last year. But we sort of looked at what should we do now. The infra side and the capex side, which we expect to start opening up, we've seen slight green shoots here and there, but honestly not yet in full-blown measure. So we are careful on our segment 1 that we have to be still watching carefully what we book and what we execute, and contain our costs there, contain margins, contain cash flow. So our general direction, maintain cash flow. If you remember, our cash flow is, by the way, the lowest. Borrowings have been the lowest in this quarter, end of the quarter, compared to the last last 3 years of similar quarters. And so these steps we took over a long period have started bearing fruit. We will focus on, the good part, of course, I must say, the commodity prices are down. With the China crisis, we can see prices will be stable, will come in on. I believe today the oil prices were even further depressed. And so inflation has been in control. The forex rates have been generally stable. There is no volatile situation to worry about, and we can focus on growth. We have started expanding our distribution channels already from last year onwards when the summer started, and including e-commerce, more retail channels, going down into opening new offices. We already opened a couple of new offices this year also. And so our plan is to go on expanding the channel because we think we can still grow. Market penetration in India for AC is still below 5%. So I see huge possibilities ahead. Yes, one would expect things to move faster, but maybe they'll take a little time, yeah.
Yes. Mr. Jamdar, very quickly then, are there any non-core assets that the company is considering to sell?
Yes, Aisha, good morning. Well, I must tell you one thing. We have closed down our Bharuch plant, which was operating for our old technology kind of methods which we had because of an old factory, and we actually refurbished the whole thing in a new plant in Wada. Wada is a green plant. It's a green certified factory, and there we have set up a cyclopentane project for refrigeration equipment and our cold rooms, which is now doing very well, and that we commissioned only in early April. And this quarter, the last quarter, was very good after having commissioned that plant. And the Bharuch plant, because in these kind of cases we cannot stop manufacturing and build it in the same place, so we had to find a new, in any case, Wada plant being a green plant made sense to bring in a cyclopentane, which is a green process into that factory. And Blue Star is committed to, of course, being a green company with green products, and this is one more move we have made recently. We also have declared VRS in our other old factory in Thane. So, because that is also moving into Wada, the products like chillers, etc. So that is the plan we have this year. What happens is when we put up new plants, we can raise the technology kind of aspects and what kind of equipment we bring in, and that's the chance we get to put in new productivity standards, etc. So that's what we've done.
Mr. Jamdar, I'm sorry, we just running out of time completely, but a quick answer, a quick 30-second answer. If you're getting out of some of those existing plants, won't you sell off those land and building assets there?
Well, the Bharuch plant certainly is an asset which is now empty and can be sold off whenever there is time and the right price. Thane plant, we have R&D, we have our service division and many other operations. There's only the factory side which has been a reducing entity that we have decided to close down there.
Okay. Fair call. But good quarter, really much better than what maybe a few people were believing. So congrats on that. All the best though for the quarters ahead. Thanks for joining in today, Mr. Jamdar.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you.
As Blue Star, interesting numbers, stock flat. Navneet too has flattened down a bit. Fairly decent YOY numbers. I mean, you can't look at these numbers quarter on quarter. It's an education company, but YOY they have done much better. Sunil Gala, President Finance.